Hi guys. Hi, good afternoon. This is Sunday. Happy Sunday to all of you. Hope you're relaxing, already have your lunch, and ready to join us for our session of Life with Red Dot Diva. And I have a guest today. He's a local geek whom I know in our local circles, and a cosplayer as well as a movie buff. And he's also a member of the Five of Us Singapore Garrison. And today we are going to talk about cosplay yes and nays. Before we get there and before I put him on screen, in case you are not familiar with me, I'm Red Dot Diva. I'm a local blogger and I've been doing that for about 10 years. And I blog about the lifestyle, the pop culture events and interesting events that are here in Singapore, as well as feature some of the Singaporean and Southeast Asian talents. And I use this live stream mainly for that purpose, so that the people around the world will be familiar with the creators in our region. I think our region is very underrepresented in the international circles concerning artistic endeavors. And this is why I started this live stream back in June 2020. So I'm still going to continue on with this live stream as long as people find it useful and entertaining. I'm going to put Shahril now, and we're going to talk about the cosplays yes and nays. So say hello to Shahril. Hello.
Hi,
Hello to
hello
everyone.
everyone.
And please introduce yourself to the people out there who are watching.
Hi, my name is Shahril, and yeah, it's as what Tina was saying that I do cosplay, and that's just part of what I like to do. But obviously over here we talk mainly on the cosplay, and uh, my work is definitely not related to cosplay.
It's my relating to entertainment blogging.
So I think I shall not indulge into my my personal career because there's nothing to be proud to talk about right now.
And we have Kanjing here as well. He says, hello, Diva and Shar. Hi, Kanjing. Glad you're joining us.
I can
Hope
think.
you're doing fine. And for anyone who is joining us, do say hi. We'll wave back to you as well and give you a shout out. Okay, so, we're going to get into the topic, but before that, right, uh, I'm going to show everybody, basically, this little thing that we took together some years back. It's been so long.
That's 2019.
2019,
Yeah.
because we're stuck in the pandemic cycle. Anyway, this was one of my favorite cosplays of yours, and I think we'll talk about more of that later on. And this, if you can't see, I'm kind of like not cosplaying, but um, doing a geek wear on Poison Ivy. So when I saw him, right, and he called me first because I didn't recognize you in your penguin costume at first until you started to say, "Hey, it's me." That was so fun. I hope that we all get back together again, for
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everyone misses that, right? And also, before I get to your first question, right? Okay,
Mhm.
what made you decide to start on first play cosplay? Like, when do you first decide to get into this arena of costume making and kind of like part performance art as well?
Well, actually, to be honest, I feel like this came in quite naturally, or I don't know. I like to do things with my hands, like drawing and things like that, doing assembling model kits. And sometimes when you look at, especially Five of Us, right, what they did with their costume is quite impressive. And if you go for all these comic cons, right, kind of interesting to see uh, all these people, like all the cosplayers, right? They really put their heart and soul into making these costumes, and some are even better than what you see in the movies. And like I started out doing the simplest costume, like the Imperial Officer in the Star Wars saga,
Hmm.
and then it went on to be the TIE pilot, which is actually quite straightforward because you buy the equipment and then just wear them over. And I took like a step forward and try something which is beyond my uh, imagination. Like I did that penguin thingy. Uh, and I was quite nervous because it's the first time I actually did something to my face, and it turned out fine, lah. And I kind of like I was quite proud of it because it is the first time doing it, and it was pretty successful.
I know, right? It was very awesome. I think it's one of the most awesome I've seen actually of penguin. Well, not many people actually tend to do that
You know what's
character.
the best? You know what's the
Yeah.
best part? Not many people recognize until I tell them who I am.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember that
penguin?
2019, everybody was talking. I know that person, and then they will be like, "Who's this guy?"
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
I
like
mean,
me. Like, you. Because it really, really didn't, you can't really see that it's even you until you kind of speak and then your body language is like, no, that was
and yeah, and the best part is, I did that mostly by myself. That making up and things. It's good to have assistance too, but I probably will not want to like make my wife. Well, I don't want to trouble her too much. Yeah, but eventually it turned out nice, lah.
yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, just in case people are not familiar, we are referring to Five Opus SG. We mean this costuming group that is basically a Star Wars based costuming group. So if you're not familiar with that, you can look that up. It's a worldwide
Mm.
group of people who do their costumes based on Star Wars characters, and it's quite. If I'm not mistaken, I think there are really strict guidelines, right, on how the
Yeah,
costumes are.
very. Because I think the costumes must be as close as to the movie as possible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then somebody will prove that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you
So
cannot just like get those costumes from the shelf and then you just wear them. And say,
yeah,
oh, I'm
yeah,
a Star Wars costumer. No.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can
when
be a
when
Star Wars costumer, but you cannot be a firefighters.
so how long did you take for the one of? I know you have two, which is like uh the stormtrooper as well as the
No, it's not Stormtrooper. It's actually a TIE pilot and
TIE fighter. Sorry, TIE
yeah,
fighter as well as the Imperial Officer.
officer. Yeah. You know, of all the costume, the
Accessories.
yeah,
Ta-da!
actually, this part is the simplest. You know what's the curse right now? My boots. I have to customize my boots because of my calves, my legs. They are too big, and you cannot buy like the shoes, the boots that's off the shelf
Oh
because
wow.
they're too small for my leg. So I have to like customize them. Uh, if not because of that, I think it's pretty much straightforward because for the costume, the main costume, I will just like send it to the tailor and then just give them the measurements and they'll do what they need to do.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
but
But
I'm not too sure whether I can fit that right now.
all right. So now we'll get into the actual meat of it, and hopefully those out there who are cosplayers as well, or you're new to it, you have questions to ask, please feel write it on your comments. We'll just pick it up. And the topic of the day, if you are not familiar, it's cosplay yays and nays. So if you have any interesting comments or other tips that you want to share as well, we'll kind of pick it up and have a discussion, good discussion going on. This is quite chatty and casual. So my interesting point is asking Cheryl what he thinks are like maybe at least three tips of the yays part. Like what are the three
Ah,
things that would be constitute like a good cosplay or a good, I don't know, like a good not just the cosplay itself, but a good way of getting a good cosplay. Yeah.
yeah, okay. I think I get. I mean, there's a lot, but I think I have these 3 points I
You
can
can
actually
share
like.
more. I just offer like three, but you can have five if you want.
Okay, I'll give three, but who knows? you'll be more than that eventually. But the first thing that you need to do as a cosplayer is have fun. Always have fun. Some people, when they do cosplay, they they tend, like, especially if it's their first time, they tend to be nervous about it, and they become self aware that they'll be so concerned that what if people do not like them, and what if you do things wrongly, and then what if you criticize, and so and so.
Yeah.
But to me is, if you think that you have done it correctly, I mean, if you think that you have done it well, trust your instinct and have fun, right? Even how bad it is, just have fun.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has stuff somewhere.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. I mean, you're not working for some film industry where they do professional
Yeah.
costuming and things like that. Most important thing, you have fun lah. Yeah. And then another thing that you need to do is always keep within what you can do and what you can afford. Like, some people get too ambitious. They get so ambitious that they want to do something that is beyond their capabilities. Yeah, and then that's where disaster come in. Like, sometimes you want to do something that's very mechanical, you want to do something robotic, and then when you build, but you never test, and then you bring it to like some costuming event or even like a convention.
Yeah.
And then there's like so-called wardrobe malfunction kind of thing. So yeah, and then another thing is like, as I said, you need to get something that you can afford. Like, try not, you are a working class, right? Unless you do this as your day job, all right. You need to be mindful of the budget that you have for all this hobby that you have. Like, if you can afford to pay like $200 to $500 a month, I mean, on your costumes, stick to that budget. And then if you think that it's gonna be a bit below, why don't you just like save a bit more in the future, and then you can buy more. Don't force yourself to buy something that. And another thing is, you do not have to be so perfect like what you see in the movies. The movies are professionals.
Yeah. Right.
We just have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also, cosplay doesn't mean that they need to be accurately.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a spin on it, right? Some people do a
True.
zombie spin or a mashup, and it's fine.
Exactly. And my penguin is not really what you see on what Danny DeVito is using. It's just a mashup between him and what you see in the comic books. That's why you see 5 fingers on my hands, not that typical 3 fingers on Danny DeVito. And yeah, so another thing is like, some people will just think that, oh, cosplay, you must be from movies. No, sometimes you have to look into comic books. Even in like I have ever seen someone actually like pretending to be a character in some Hong Kong movie, and she nailed it, right? And so those are also considered cosplaying, as long as you imitate someone out there in the popular culture. You are doing a cosplay.
Yep. I think the having fun part is a lot. I think as people get deeper, I find because I'm not a cosplayer at all. I'm too lazy. I think people know that I'm kind of a lazy geek. When it gets too much, right, I just like, nah, this is not for me because I want to do something else. So anyway, I'm not a cosplayer, but I mean, I've been in the circles of pop culture here locally and abroad for a very long time. So, and I know so many cosplayers. But your first point is actually the one that I do find is the most important as well, like to have fun. Because when they get deeper into it, I find that they actually lose that. It becomes like, if, correct me if I'm wrong, it becomes like you want to up, yeah, I know it's a kind of improvement, but they also want, they get too caught up in the part about trying to be perfect,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we lost the fun part of it, you know.
exactly.
And it, yeah,
Yeah, we have a question from
yeah.
Raiku.
Okay, hi Raiko. We see your question. I'm gonna get back to that because there'll be a
Okay,
section on yeah, these type of things. It is in my
okay.
list. So we'll
All
get
right.
back to you.
I'll get back to my years first, and then
Yeah,
we
yeah,
cover
right.
that one. Right. And
Right,
then
right now we are talking about yes, people. If you got
yeah,
anything to add, we'll flash it up on screen.
and then the third one, all right. And then this is the most important thing is support one another. All right. No matter how good or how bad one person's costume is or are, you have to support what they've done because it's their effort that really is important, right? Please do not belittle people based on um, the shortfall of their costume, right? And I've seen some people uh, criticizing someone based on their race,
Oh, seriously, that's
yeah, which
bad.
is very bad. Yeah, I
Don't
mean
do that, people.
that's not the right thing to do. Like, okay, I'm a Malay, right? That in you, I mean, some people are Chinese, and then we do not have. I mean, all these international characters like Penguin, all the DC characters, the Marvel characters, they are Caucasian. I mean,
Yeah, Caucasian
and
based.
you know, like sometimes some people just like belittle you. You're not white. Why are you becoming
Seriously?
someone that it
But then they're
happens?
cosplaying all this
Exactly. It's just cosplay
anime.
just to happen. Ah, yes. If they can do it, why can't we? But serious, it's whatever it is. Don't criticize people. It's just to support one another.
Yeah,
And if you,
and it's for fun. It's not for
yeah, it's
professional
fun.
gigs
And,
or
and if you think that if you have a suggestion, suggest to them.
yep,
Don't make fun of people's shortfall.
yep.
Help them. And I think that's one thing that we must really think. Don't politicize like cosplaying, like oh you're bad, we're good, that kind of thing.
Totally. I do agree with that. I think that also goes with a lot of gatekeeping in other forms of fandom as well.
Yeah,
I also think it's kind of a way of like the people who do these. There's a lot of self-esteem issues as well. They're trying to crowd others out, you know, so that they are able to look good. And as I'm a big proponent of lifting each other up regardless, because we're talking about pop culture, we're talking about something fun and it's entertainment. Ultimately it's entertainment.
yeah,
I mean, unless you're in Hollywood or some, you know, Hong Kong or South Korean production circles, you're doing it as a job. That's totally different. That's like art field that you're in. But for us who are fans and hobbyists and you know, even though you can be a hardcore collector or comic book fan, you know, but you're not doing it actually professionally and just for fun, then you should just make each other feel welcome and included,
yeah.
unless you're a big,
And
uh,
I have this a
you
short
know,
phrase that I want to share with you guys. If you've got nothing good to say, don't say it. It's
that's always the wisest rule, right? Especially for Asians, we'll say like, don't say anything, got nice things to say, don't say. Because not everybody's perfect, right? Yeah,
nobody's perfect. That's the problem, and you just say it just for fun.
yeah,
And uh, later, when I talk about the nays, right? The the supporting one another comes into a part where in one of my point on the nays itself, because uh, we have one common hobby. There's no such thing as like we should just like kill one another just because of that. Right? It's a community.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's pointless in Singapore, especially because we are so small. The geek community itself is so small and so niche, right? Especially if you're
Even
talking about Western culture, pop culture is even more niche than the
yes,
Venn
yes, correct.
diagram of pop culture geeks, you know. So, So
You're much bigger.
this should be nice and kind of like you don't need to be too nice. I mean, don't like somebody, don't like somebody, but be kind.
Yeah.
Ultimately
Don't
be kind to one another. Yeah.
unless that person is uh, uh being abusive lah, then it's a different story.
Yeah.
Wake up
Of course.
to being abusive, then you have to defend yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Agreed. Now, since we are kind of like merging the yays and nays together now. But if you have
Mm.
any firm nays of cosplays, yeah, please go ahead and share with us.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
points.
Like it, to complement what I mentioned in the third years, right? Never critique one another if it's not good. Don't criticize people. Like, I it's kind of sad that someone who just want to start to indulge into cosplaying, and they ask around people who has been doing cosplaying or even the cosplayers themselves, how do I go about doing this? Sometimes this is, I don't know, based on experience or hearsays of people. Some people has been receiving replies like which is very undesirable. You know what they say sometimes? Got no money, don't talk about cosplaying.
Oh,
That's not good.
but then let's look at that guy, low cost cosplay. He's also cosplaying.
It's cosplaying, correct? So the thing is, why don't you just like change those words into such a way that what is your budget? Then we work around it, what you can do. Obviously, as I say, if he's asking for something that's like outlandish, way too expensive, but he has so tiny budget, obviously we cannot encourage him to do it, but give them alternatives of what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't criticize. The I mean, obviously the people outside the community, right? All the outsiders, some of them actually criticize us. They say that all these people nothing to do, dress up as characters from some fantasies. And in my case, all right, I'm not that young, right? And some people say, "Wow, this guy so old also still want to do cosplay. What's wrong with that?"
Yeah, then you don't know Auntie Shirley, man.
But serious, it's as it's not a bad thing that we did. We don't indulge in criminals.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
harmful.
So what is your problem with that? So don't criticize things unnecessarily. So another thing is cosplaying is like never take it too hard when approached with negativity. A lot of people, like some people, they just kind of sad because sometimes they just started out to become a cosplayer and then they've been criticized left, right, upside down,
Oh.
and it will dent their
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem, and they do not want to do it, which is sad. Because it's technically bullying.
Mm.
Like,
Okay, let me pause. At this point, I think it's appropriate for Raiko's question. I'm not sure
yeah,
whether we're blocked by it because there's a lot of text. Okay, no. Okay, gonna be kind of controversial, but with the ongoing gatekeeping and harassment issues in the community, I think it's not happening just in the cosplay community. It's happening almost in every fandom that I see and parts of the pop culture geekdom. What are Sheryl's thoughts on it? And as a senior cosplayer, how serious does he think those issues are, and whether anything can be done about it?
all right. It you have to look at the harassment, right? If it's like if the harassment is considered negligible, like sometimes when you pass along the crowd, right, the public, and then you're wearing things like that, and then they just laugh at you. That is in a way a form of harassment, but those are the uh, minor ones, right? If you face with this kind of minor harassment, suck it up, right? Clear your conscience. Know that what you do is okay, right? But as the harassment reaches to an abusive level, know when to defend yourself. Okay, but I mean, when I say when you defend yourself, doesn't mean that you start to be very physical about it, right? You don't have to punch somebody if they don't punch you. Okay, but if it goes to that level where the abuse is really beyond your control, maybe you just have to bring in the authorities to stop this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because nobody, uh, we should not tolerate harassment in whatever form. And
I
that's
also
the
think that for females, especially for ladies
yes,
who are tend to be harassed when they are in costume. Back
mm,
then, I think in 2017 or so, when the cosplay is not consent, does not mean consent happening all around the world. I did ask Read organization whether they have kind of like a code of conduct on what will happen if a cosplayer face that.
mm,
And actually, the PR and I think the PR was the one that was their PR firm was the one that was talking to. So they went to check and they said that they didn't have a code of ethics or conduct on the website for STGCC at that point in time. So I said, could you make sure that there is something so that at least like if somebody is misbehaving on the floor, right, that you guys are also able to do something about it, because if you don't say that there is nothing wrong, then people assume that there is nothing wrong. If you say that there is something wrong as an organizer of a convention, right, then you have the right to boot this person out of the
yeah,
whole entire hall if he's
yeah,
not doing. And I think they took that advice and my request, and I think from then on you will see that the STGCC or SGCC had this code in there. They should. If they don't, I'm gonna make noise again. But anyway, yeah, that was one of the things. And for me, right, I hate to see that happen to any of the younger cosplayers as well,
mm,
because uh, it's the truth that when you get older, right, you just get a bit more aggressive, kind of passive aggressive, because you have seen so much of this world that you tend to
yeah,
be a little more stronger in a sense. But for the younger ones who are out there, and I always tell people actually sometimes if you see me tweet, right, if you guys face anything, please come and just tag Red Dot Diva. She will come and do something about it, because I really hate to see that happen. It's supposed to be a fun place for us to all hang out and,
yeah,
not something traumatic and not something so damaging for people to experience, especially if they're a convention meeting friends and enjoying themselves for the weekend. So I'm sure that there are a lot of, also, I think one of the things that if you're doing it alone, please at least get a buddy with you that you can trust, a buddy who will look out for you and help you with your gear, and not only that, also help you with all these harassments. At least there's someone who has eyes on you at all times, and also as a witness.
mm,
So you have extra protection on that aspect. I mean, that is my point of view as a non-cosplayer, but as a female geek,
yeah.
and
Oh,
people
can I ask,
attend
like,
public events as well. That
I
is
like to
my
add one more thing though. Like, some of these cosplayers costumes, the costumes can be a bit revealing, uh, especially in manga costumes.
yeah.
My advice to you guys is, if you want to wear what you are wearing, the costumes, you want to wear those costumes, make sure that it's like within the events that you are going to, right? Try not to wear what you want to wear in public freely, just even in like public transportation. You are attracting the wrong things sometimes. Like, even if you want to wear that, right? Some people will say that, oh, it's a waste of time for me to like make up, wear the costumes in the event venue itself. Maybe you can just wear something over it, just to minimize attraction, the wrong kind of attraction.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
should say
because
you should know what to do to keep yourself safe, lah. Huh? Don't be a
yes,
don't be a foolish person and expose. to unnecessary danger, I should say. And
Yes.
but that's why I'm saying it's good to have a buddy with you as well.
Yeah. But if
Somebody.
you're being harassed in the event area itself, then that is totally wrong.
Usually the event area is kind of protected lah, because there's all of us
Yes.
here. We're just like, what kind of nonsense are you trying to pull? But it's
Yes.
always the external people who are not familiar with the world of cosplay or pop culture at all, and they're just like, they have no idea that such things are happening.
You'll be surprised that not many people say
Yeah,
there are
no,
some people who's not aware about this cosplay thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Actually, there are a lot of people who have no idea what it
Nope.
is. Is there any other comments? If you have, we'll pick it up later. And that was a very interesting points of yays and nays. Anything else you want to add, Sherry?
Yeah, I think the last one. This is very important, regardless of what kind of costume that you're doing. Right? Don't take it too seriously, way too seriously. It's meant to be fun, right? You can leave that seriousness in your career, your job, your day job, right? But don't politicize cosplaying. Don't make it too serious in cosplaying, because we have enough seriousness out there.
That's true.
Cosplaying is actually a means of one way to just get yourself out of the real world, right? Is to distress yourself. Why do you want to make yourself too stressed out in costuming? That's not right. Yeah.
Okay, there's one thing that you said just now about don't criticize others. Okay, my question now, I think people are curious as well. Where is the borderline between critical, like criticizing in a bad way, and
Positive
criticizing
and negative
in a good
critics.
way? Yeah. Where do you think the line is drawn?
Uh, when you talk about negative critics, it's more of insulting rather than giving constructive opinion. Like, just for you say, a good example of a good scenario, a good example of a scenario of a negative uh, critic is when somebody laugh at you. Oh, this kind of person want to become this character. Ha ha ha! Ridiculous. Blah blah blah. That's negative.
Mm.
Yeah. But you want to talk about positive, right? Maybe like tell them, oh, this is a good effort, but don't mind me lah. Like what you can improve more just to add a bit more. Confirm will be very nice. But what you have done is good.
Mm.
But when you
I
start to laugh at it, it's really insulting.
Good criticism will include a suggestion or a solution as well
Suggestion.
that you can fix. Yeah, and it's
Yes.
not just like intentionally laughing.
Yes. It's
At
more
something.
constructive comments rather than destructive.
Right. We are now almost at a halfway point. Wow, we have chat almost like half an hour. So if you guys are watching us right now, hi, we are talking about cosplay yays and nays, as well as other cosplay cosplay related discussions. My next question, Shahril, what has been your toughest costume to make? So
Okay. The most challenging, the toughest. That happened to be last year. Uh, uh, on May 4th, as you guys are aware, May 4th is the Star Wars Day.
yeah,
And we, the five of us, who are being invited to dress up as the Star Wars characters in the Art Science Museum in MBS. So the thing is, last year there's a lot of red tapes that we have to abide. Like you have to wear face masks, even though you're using the helmets, the buckets. All right, you still have to wear the face mask when
so
you it.
are you referring to the Imperial, the TIE fighter?
Yeah, the stormtroopers, the TIE fighters. Yes, yes. You have to wear face mask beneath it. I mean, without the face mask, it's already very stuffy in there, and you are doing an outdoor display, right? You're costuming outdoor. So, and another thing that made it worse was it was during fasting month.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I think that was quite challenging. Uh, it's like what you call mind over body, because I think the body can just shut down anytime.
Yeah, heat
And
exhaustion.
get dehydrated and things like that. Yeah. And but the good thing is like the people that assist us, right? The minders and all that, they're actually quite mindful about our well-being, which is good. But the only thing is like it's very challenging in such a way that like you still have to wear your face mask beneath the costume that you're wearing. Let's just hope that this time around, this year, as like what was being announced by our Prime Minister, come 29th of April, when you're outdoor, you don't have to wear your face mask.
Much, not April.
Oh yeah, March 29th, sorry. March 29th,
Don't push me
you don't have.
I'm very happy I can go walks without mask.
So when you go outdoors, you don't have to wear face mask. I think that's like
I
a
know, right?
celebration for everybody.
I miss
But
having fresh air when you're going for your beach, in the beach.
yeah,
Or,
but that being said, is if you're not feeling well, don't go out.
of course,
Yeah,
please
definitely.
don't be,
All market.
don't be inconsiderate.
Yeah, I think
But
it's
that was like one of the challenging experiences. But as for costumes, like those that you actually kind of decide to make or do or props or anything like that, which was your like toughest?
toughest as in the costume. Then
Yeah, the costume itself.
different costume has got its uh, difficulties lah. I think the easiest one was the Imperial Officer, where you just wear the costume
Yeah.
straight forward. The only thing is you have to pull a straight face regardless of how people smile at you. You must put yourself in the character, so you cannot smile that much. So that's a negative point about Imperial Officer. And then if you look at the TIE Fighter, there's so many things that you have to put on yourself. Right? Sometimes you can miss something, and then you have that kind of like wardrobe.
How do you
Malfunction.
master keeping that straight face?
It's a challenge.
Just keep laughing.
It's a real challenge, but I do look fierce when I pull a straight face. I just show an emotionless face.
Yeah, that's one thing why I can't do cosplay as well, because the performance part of it, I'll just crack up.
You have to be the character.
I have a very busy week kind of attitude, so it's like very difficult for me. I can't act. I cannot.
So I think the best for you is you have to wear a mask.
Yeah, mask cannot see. That's why I'm very happy a pandemic wear half mask. Those masks, oh
And then as you see the third one that you see, the penguin, the makeup is hell. And I have to do it all by myself.
Oh yes. Let me.
Uh,
I think I have. Don't mind if I show the pic that you shared on your Facebook.
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Uh,
Yeah, that's how I put on the prosthetics on the nose. It's not
Actually,
easy.
did you get the idea from somewhere, or did you learn, or know what was your steps that you took in order to get to this point?
To be honest with you, most of the thing I learned it by myself.
Mm.
Yeah, because I was quite creative in arts, right? So you just apply that to my own face.
Wow, nice.
It's a work of art on my face, like actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, I remember like in 2019 SGCC, I went to the handicap toilet in the Marina Bay Sands itself,
Uh-huh.
and then the cleaner was like waiting outside, wondering what the hell am I doing in there. My wife was outside, so she was like, I took about like almost an hour just to do that makeup thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not easy because you have to put the prosthetics.
That's the final product, people.
That's the final product.
The final look. It was actually one of my favorite of that STGCC because, as I say, I seldom see people do penguin. It's always like some lighter version of a penguin, gender band, but it's not exactly penguin, you know. But this is like,
Not like this
yeah,
penguin.
not like the full blown thing. It's like source of favorite.
I did, to be honest with you, I didn't know that I actually can pull this thing. I I I I had doubts, but you know, the good thing is I got good support from people outside, like gave me a sense of encouragement and suggestion what needs to be done and things like that. Other than that, like I will just source out what I need to buy, like the monocle and the fake cigarette.
Mm.
That fake cigarette has got smoke at the tip, but it's
Oh,
actually
nice.
talcum powder. So you know, when I was in the SGCC, people thought I was
People say,
smoking.
oh, Shahril, you smoke.
People were thinking that I was smoking in the exhibition hall. The officials on there say powder. And that
Oh.
stomach is not my real stomach. I'm fat, but not that fat. So I had to put like a pillow in front of me to make it fat.
So I guess you kind of answered my question as to how do you make a costume your own. You kind of like do your own makeup, your
Yeah,
style, add some little interesting props, you know. What other tips do you have that you actually kind of like make a costume like your own thing, not just a character that you see in a movie or a
yeah.
part.
Like the thing is, okay, you can make it as accurate as possible to what you see in the comic books or in the movie. Uh, the only thing is, like for me, I will think of what can be done to make it better and think of the cheapest alternative to do it. Like I can always buy one of those fake tummies, a silicone fake tummy that's gonna cost you
Yeah.
about 100 Singapore dollars,
Wow.
which is like, very
Wow.
expensive.
Ooh.
But you see, you either pay a lot just to look very accurate, or you improvise. Right? Sometimes you do if you even by paying a little, but you improvise in the right way, it still look as good as paying
Mm,
one hell of a price just to look
mm,
good.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then like that cigarette thingy, I just like look out in the internet, see what's the cheapest alternative to buy all these things. Even the suit, I bought it from places like maybe Ali, AliExpress. They have cheap costumes on
Yeah.
there, and some of the suits you can actually like give the measurements that you require, and then they will just made to measure,
Yeah.
right? I remember when I did that costume, uh, the measurements for the stomach was huge, and then they had to like get back to me a few times. Are you sure this is your stomach size? I said yes. Don't worry, I will use it. They asked me a few times, but eventually said, "Hey, it looks good lah." After that,
Um, I know some people are very, very hardcore about cosplaying, being like they are making their own costumes. So, um, you know, what do you think about that? The people who think that it's not okay to actually get somebody to make for you or buy one. Uh,
uh, to
would that?
me is if uh if you can afford to pay, go ahead lah. I mean, we are not going to criticize you, but do not, to all these people who can afford expensive things, please do not look down on people who can uses homemade things to do to make their own costume, because it's the effort that really matters.
Yeah. Mm,
Uh, and like I've seen all these people who's like filthy rich and they can do whatever thing they want to do, but they laugh on the people who wears basic costumes. But at least they put a brave front to wear what they want to wear. I think that's the most important thing.
mm. Uh, And I also want to share this one. And recently we saw that
Yeah.
you are actually one of the Instagram posts in DC official Korea. I mean, why is the Singaporean DC Asia not picking you up, but Koreans picking you up? I'm not sure why, but awesome.
Actually, I have to elaborate lah. Very early this year, DC Asia went up to me, was asking me whether to get permission from me to use my pictures
Yeah, yeah,
for DC Korea. I said, go ahead. If you want to use it, just use it. I mean, it's not like as if I'm gonna make money out of it.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But that was like way early. I think it was in January. So I thought like maybe the whole thing didn't materialize. They're not gonna use it. Then suddenly out of the blue, like a few days ago, they
Yay.
actually posted a thing in DC Korea.
I'm not sure why though. Maybe the movie came out a bit later for them.
I think so. I think the release date is
Because
not
they need
as
to maybe dub it or something. I'm not sure. Sometimes the Japan one are always late because there is a dubbing involved.
yes.
Yeah.
Usually Japanese and Koreans will get their
Subtitling.
release
Yeah,
later than some parts of the world.
correct. Because there's a lot of work they do, and their market is very specialized. Like they cater to the actual Japanese kind of marketing and Korean kind of marketing. So, but
Yeah.
anyway,
On top of that, maybe they have other things that they're gonna they're gonna.
what has been your most memorable experiences so far when you were cosplay?
I think the most memorable one was the 2019 SGCC, right? It was a 2-day event, and first day I was dressing up as an Imperial Officer, and the second day was Penguin. So different characters. So you have to portray differently, and then the thing is, I like it in a way, in such a way that when you dress up as someone, as a character, and people come to you and like take pictures with you. Uh, in a way, to me, it's an achievement that what you did is right.
Yeah, they can
Yeah,
recognize your character.
yeah, and it's kind of interesting that sometimes you look at the comic book artists themselves and just come out front, take pictures with me.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. They love that too. I know. I know when they go for conventions, they love looking out for cosplayers. It's like a validation of their work as a comic artist when they draw and they see somebody bring it into 3D, right?
Yeah, happy about it actually. Yeah, so it's kind of fun, and I think it's my first time dressing up as the Penguin during SGCC, and that's the only one, unfortunately, because shortly after that, COVID happened.
Yeah, right.
And,
Was
I mean,
there a was there a DC villains shot together for all the cosplayers on that?
actually,
during
there
that
was.
convention?
We the surprising part was, I think on that day when I was a Penguin, there were good DC costumers out there, like
Yeah,
the Catwoman, Riddler, and some
Wonder
Batman
Woman. I think
and
I saw Wonder
Superman.
Woman. Yeah.
Yeah, they have plenty of good ones. I'm quite impressed with some of them because they
I
really
would love to
maneuver.
see just only the villains. Joker,
Yeah,
Riddler,
there was.
Queen.
I don't have the picture with me right now, but there was
There
a
was.
good photo of all the villains out there.
I'm for the
It,
DC
it,
villains.
it was really good. It was really good, and that's the reason why I enjoyed the SGCC.
Yeah, I think
You're not only there as a comic fan, but you dress up as a character, and people are looking up to you. So yeah.
Kanjin was saying about the DC Korea. They know Shahril coming on interview. So they'll be on. I wish Kanjin. I wish they know about me also. But yeah, probably for Shahril, yes. All right. If anybody else is still watching, just pop in your questions. I know Raiku has one, and I'm gonna put it up here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
actually, I have another question. There's this one famous cosplayer who mentioned that all cosplayers are automatically public representatives of the community as a whole, and that they should keep in mind that in whatever they do, what are your thoughts on such a statement?
To me, right, in some aspect, I have to agree with what the guy has said, right? Uh, Regardless of the characters that you portray yourself in during cosplaying, you must make sure that you have a sense of respect to what you're wearing. The costume that you wear is similar to what the policemen are wearing, right? The uniforms. Those are your uniforms. So, in a way, like what Raiku was saying is, be the person that you are, right? You can be a bit off, but make sure it's not too much. You're not swinging out too much, right? Respect the character and respect the community.
What do you think will be considered bad cosplayer behavior though? Like what have you seen that is really that you find in the cosplayer itself, not the people attending or the fans? What do you think are the ones that you felt have crossed the line? We're not going to name names here. We're just going to name the bad behavior.
I don't know, sometimes bullying, yeah, bullying a fellow cosplayer, right? Okay, like as I said earlier in our chat, there was someone who was like belittling somebody, like, aren't you a little too dark to become a certain character?
Hmm.
Isn't that offensive when one cosplayer says to another cosplayer like
Yeah.
that? It's racially offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to do that. It's very unethical. It's very unethical. That is clearly not a representation of
Mhm.
you as a community of cosplayer, right? You're supposed to support one another, not make fun or belittle or just abuse
Mm.
verbally. Yeah, we have a certain uh, tolerance, lah. Yeah. So don't go beyond that tolerance.
um, when I saw your photo shoot that was done for the penguin, though, I was kind of, I mean, I see a lot of other friends do actual paid photo shoots as well.
Yeah.
I was just like wondering, what is the experience like, and do you have any tips on the process of this photo shoot? Like, do you practice your poses before then, or things like this?
See, here's the thing about all these cosplayers, right? When they know that they're gonna become that certain character, they be that character. So just be that character. Even during the photo shoot, it will naturally be in you, which is kind of surprising, lah. Because I may look jovial like this, but when I put on those makeup, I become someone else. Yeah.
It's very
So
interesting psyche though that actually what you wear and what you see as like the mirror reflection of something that you wear, as including your normal clothes as well as your costume, does actually
right,
affect.
it's like what you are, what you wear.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Interesting,
just
right?
like for a civilian wearing a military uniform,
Yeah.
so you have to become the military. The same thing. But important thing is just have fun, lah. Of the character that you have to attain to, just have fun.
Yeah,
Don't
that's our.
don't yeah.
It seems to be
Don't
that
be
is our number one advice today. When you do cosplay, do remember to have fun,
have fun. Just
despite whatever you face. The thing is
don't
still.
care. Yeah. Like if you can tolerate the harassment, right? The little harassment that goes around you, just forego. But if it becomes too abusive, then you have to do something about that. Bring in the authority. Don't take
Should
matters
say,
in your
yeah,
own hand.
bring it to the authorities, complain to the organizers, whatever it
Yes.
takes, man. Of course,
But
make sure you
really,
have
just don't start a fight.
yeah.
Just don't start a fight. That's not what we're supposed to do.
It's not worth it as well, I don't think.
Yeah, right.
You might be called into question as to who is the aggressor in the first place,
Exactly.
even though if you're not. I know you also have other artistic endeavors. You mentioned just now that you're quite artistic person. And
Yeah.
please do share with the people what are your other interests other
Ah,
than cosplay.
I think you have seen what I've done
Yes.
in Instagram. I like to draw. And
I know you did this recently.
resemble, yeah, that was a fabric painting. I actually wore that when I was watching Batman. It kind of like it was an uh, page turner lah. Like people will just look, see where they get the thing from.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy, but you know,
How long
if
did you
you,
take to do this?
that one,
Yeah, that fabric.
uh, if I do take away my meal breaks and my actual work and things like that, I can do it within one day.
Mm.
Yeah, but it depends on how complex the thing is.
Yeah.
I remember doing one artwork of like 4 aliens in one drawing. That took me like 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the most complex drawing that I've done in my life. On top of that, I do model kits also, assembling model kits.
Mm.
I'm good with my hands, lah. That's all I can say.
Yeah. But you did that since you already started doing model kits and all that when you were younger, or was
Very,
this just a
very.
recent hobby?
In fact, I think I started to do drawing in my primary school days. I was actually being. There was one time I did a sketch of Freddy Krueger when I was in primary six,
Wow.
and my classmate was saying, "Aya, you trace one lah, trace. How did you do it? Like what a sketch?" But and I was being penalized by my teacher way back when I was in primary two. You know, in your lower primary school, you're supposed to do art folios and you
Yeah.
have to do the design. So
According to the art class.
So what I did was I did a goofy on my art folio, and my teacher told me, "You're not supposed to trace." I said, "Teacher, I didn't trace." And
uh,
it's kind of sad when people think that
that's so sad.
it brings down your
You don't even
self-esteem.
believe in your students' talent.
Yeah. So she thought that I was tracing it. I said, "No." Then he was asking, "Who do for you?"
Demoralizing.
But then those were the past, lah. I mean, you know that you did that by yourself. Just be proud of it.
Yeah. So I think we are always coming to the end of the live stream.
And
Time flies, and I'm always amazed, right, at how we are chatting. I'm chatting along with my guests, right, and then it's just booms, like 60 minutes is over.
like 60 minutes or
I think that's a good sign because we are comfortable and we are, just talking about something that is of value, hopefully of value to others as well.
yeah, I hope it
To round
is.
it up, okay, to round it up, counting us. Any characters in mind to cosplay for this
Uh-oh.
year's SGCC?
Actually,
Or secret?
I do have one in mind, but I'm not going to reveal it yet. But
Ding,
it's,
ding.
let's just give a hint. It involves someone with another pointed nose who have many yellow friends.
Oh no. Yellow friends. I know. I think I know which one. I like those yellow friends.
A lot of people do like that.
Yeah, a lot. Some people say too much, very sian already, but I say I still like that.
So yeah, I was thinking of doing that. So
Oh man,
let's see.
I quite like that character, He amuses me to no end.
You probably be seeing the real life one soon.
All right then. So before I, say bye to everyone, and before we actually leave this live stream, and I'm going to do a roundup of what's going to happen next. So Shahril, could you just stay on? And I'm just going to put myself on screen first.
Sure.
So hi everyone, back again. You're seeing me again. For the next month in April, I have a guest as well. She's a freelance artist from Malaysia, and I think uh, I like to be diverse in my guests as well. So she's someone that I think has a lot personal experience to share. And I think I think she'll be an interesting one. This will be her first time being on any podcast or live stream as well. And she thought that it would be interesting for her as a learning point too. And I think both of us have talked to each other on email, and we're kind of looking forward to that. So look out for an announcement as to who she is, what she does. We hope to be able to announce to everyone in maybe by the second week of April, if not earlier, because she's moving house right now as well. So that's why we kind of like shifted her guest spot from March to April. But she's a I think she'll be a good one for those who are interested to find out more about what's the scene like in Malaysia being an artist, and what she does to navigate that scene, which can be a bit more limiting than the one here in Singapore, even though we are a very small country and scope in a sense. But I'm kind of looking forward to that. I like to hear her perspective as well. That's why I invited her to be a guest. If you have anyone who wishes, if you know of anyone creative in the Southeast Asia region who has something to say, or that you wish to be a guest on my live stream as well, please feel free to give a suggestion, post it on my comments, or tag me on Twitter or something like this, and I will try my best to see if the person is interested to get on as well. And there'll be more in store. I have plans as well for other live streams coming March and all that, but I'll keep that secret for the moment. But if you have any interesting suggestions as to what kind of topics you would like me to cover, I will try to do that as well. We want to keep this engaging and useful to the community out there, especially in the Southeast Asia region and in Singapore, because I feel that's sorely missing. Most of the times, we are looking outward to the news and information and interviews based in the US usually, or the UK. So this is a platform that I'm offering to people, and I hope that you'll be one of those who be supporting and listening in as well. For those who have missed out on this live stream, and you're watching this post on the restream and my 3 available portals, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, hope you'll be able to get some tips and information and advice from Shahril, who I just shared about cosplay yays and nays, and we are also kind of like open to correspondence and social interaction. And I'm going to put Shahril back on. Before we go, Shahril, do you want to share where people can find you?
All right. Actually, I mean, a few social media
I
platform
think I
like
have it on my banner. If this is the right one.
Instagram, Twitter is as such, and you can find me in Facebook also under the name of Shahril Azizi.
Great. And you can follow me on Red Dot Diva at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook as well. For the YouTube channel, if you want to subscribe, please help to subscribe, and ask friends to subscribe if the topics are interesting to you as well. I'm trying to get a customized handle, and I need to reach, I'm at a halfway point actually. Supposed to reach 100 in order to get my custom link, and with the custom link I'll be able to do more and share more about the stuff that we do in the region with the community as well. So hopefully we'll get there this year, if not the next. It's getting a bit slow. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. We are glad that you are here with us. You spend an hour with us, either watching live or post, or you're asking us interesting questions. Thanks, Tanjing and Raiku. We are glad for your company. And then we'll try to see you on the next live stream or on all our social medias. So now you have all the handles. See you again. Bye.